We have our rules, our regulations, we have our national pledge, we have our national identity. But at what level is Gambia being recognized worldwide? With this particular convention, Gambia will be recognized and it will promote international tourism. It will promote the Gambian pride. On that note, Honorable Speaker, members of the National Assembly, I also want to join my colleagues to give my consent in ratifying this particular convention and thanking the Minister for coming at this very time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Jimara. I now invite the Honorable Member for Bundunkakunda.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to use the opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister and his staff present here for coming to this august body to bring this important convention. As an individual who has served in the tourism sector for almost 10 years, I think this convention is timely for a simple fact. I know the tourism, this is one of your ideas to have all year round tourism. And I think with this, it will, expand the product, especially in the area of sites, tourism attraction areas. So for that being the case, in the area of community tourism, it has something to do with that. And I think it's high time people try to understand what community tourism is all about. Most of the development that we are seeing in most of the local communities is through community tourism. So with this convention, it will also enhance community tourism, wherein communities will also have sense of belonging. Because when we talk about culture, it's about trying to get ourselves an identity. And today, when you go to different parts, so many parts of this world, these are things that normally boost their tourism, and at the same time, it will also help the ministry to be able to, at least engage local individuals like communities, because we're talking about it will create employment. But that employment is going to be directly affect the local individuals who are, around those areas where we will have these artifacts and stuff like that. So for that being the case, I think I will join my honorable members in blessing this thing, because this has something to do with the local people, especially those in the grassroots level. And these are very important people that, can also see part of themselves in this process. So on that note, I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Bundunkakunda. I now invite the Honorable Member for Shami.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, I'll be very, very brief. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, Tourism, and your technical staffs here present. Honorable Speaker, we are here to ratify the Convention on the protection of the underwater cultural heritage, Paris 2001. Honorable Speaker, we all know the importance of these cultural sites, particularly the cultural places and the historical sites that are along the river, especially Mungo Park. Some of these cultural or these historical sites are dormant, especially Mungo Park. But with this, when it is protected, as other speakers have rightly mentioned, it will create employment for the people around. And Honorable Speaker, this has reminded me of a well in my own village. And it contributed to the population of the communities. that famous well called Jaka. It was founded by a Jakan Kamal, a Marabou. That's why they called that well as Jaka. In those days, people used to leave far places to come and collect that water, because people have the belief that if they drink that well, water from that well, especially a barren woman will give birth. But that well, Honorable Speaker, has dried up. So, when I saw this, so it has reminded me that I think we should support this, so that those things can still come up. That's why others are saying, yes, we have already talked. I said, no, it is in me, I must talk. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Sami. I think it is your right to speak. Honorable members, we've now come to the end of the list we have for members who may want to take the floor. Pardon? Huh? Yeah, honorable member, if I call you, you are out. You've cancelled your right to speak. If you come back, you must notify us that you want to speak. You want to say something, honorable member? Huh? Honorable member for Basse, you want to say something? Yes, please take the floor then. But when you go out and you are called, if you want to continue to speak, you must notify us that you want to speak. Okay, honorable member for Basse.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and sorry for that action. First of all, I have to thank the Honorable Minister and his PS and the technical staff for doing a thorough assessment of this convention and bringing it to the Parliament for ratification. And also, I have to thank some of my committee members as being the chair of the Select Committee of Tourism, Youth and Sport, as other members have alluded. Looking at this convention or this document, there are so many important things which I observe, and I really want this august body, without wasting much time, for rectifying it. Looking at the convention, it identifies the historical, it is reviving historical heritage and rebranding of our cultural heritage, because nowadays, for the past 5 years, is the same product we are selling as in the industry. But coming up with this convention, it is rebranding all what we have been selling as a tourist industry. The second important point is reviving these wharfs. And these wharfs were existing before. I can remember the Basse Wharf when Lady Chilwell used to arrive there on Thursdays and depart on Fridays. And I think coming up with this convention, reviving this wharf, I think is a point in the right direction. The other point also I observed was the relationship between the convention, our convention, and the convention of the United States. I think it will also help the fourth point of the convention is creating job opportunities for the youths, and I think it will also pay a big dividend on creating more job opportunities, as the idle mind is the home of the devil. If youths are more engaged, I think they'll be very meaningful within the society. My final contribution is the convention will give opportunity to the recoveries of hidden heritages, and also it will also give revenue to our GDPs, Mr. Speaker. Finally, I am also adding my words or my support to this august body in ratifying this convention. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Basse. And also, I understand, Chairman of the Tourism Committee. Honorable members, may I now call upon the mover of the motion, the Honorable Minister for Tourism, to respond to the issues raised and to wind up the debate. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me say one thing before I respond to the various issues raised by members of Parliament. When I come before this House, I'm full of emotions. Nostalgic feeling, remembering how you and I have fought against each other before this chamber. Remembering Tamsir Jallow, the late Tamsir Jallow, how we fought against each other before this chamber. Remembering late Mustafa Wada, Sheriff Mustafa Diba, and the rest of all of them. How we fought to make sure we have a vibrant democracy in this country. That's why when I get to this House, I have this feeling in me. However, I have listened to the comments of members of Parliament. I have listened to the comments of members of Parliament with keen interest, and I'm overwhelmed by the support that parliamentarians have given to this convention. And I believe it is done in the supreme interest of our dear country. I've heard some of the concerns raised by parliamentarians vis-à-vis the number one issue raised is the question of domesticating the convention. As you're aware that many conventions signed by the government of the Gambia since independence, most of them have not been domesticated. As a result, they cannot be reinforced in our country. But fortunately for this one, the 2003 Act of the NCAC, of which you and I sat in the chambers to pass, have taken care of that one. And the policy, the NCAC policy, the cultural policy that we found to have been outdated for almost 15 years, that a new policy that we are able to work and pass and put into effective use, 2018, has also taken account of the issue of domestication, of domesticating this policy, this convention. Yes, a lot of issues have been raised. We cannot overemphasize the importance of this convention. Let me begin by saying one thing. We are not responsible of river transport, but we are responsible of making sure that the sites that were created during colonial time, we make sure that they are restored. Whether you bring boats there, that's a different issue. But our responsibility stops at making sure that these sites are all rehabilitated. We will contact the UNESCO for that, and we believe that the government of the Gambia have been investing immensely since President Barrow took over the regime of power in this country. We have seen the complete restoration of Kirbachi. We have seen the complete restoration of Wasu. We have seen Mongo Park, contract awarded for the construction of the Mongo Park site. And that's why I was surprised when the member for Sabe constituency could not recognize that already the promise I gave you last year, 2 years ago, is being done as we speak. A contract has been awarded to restore that site. And I also believe that these heritage sites, they are part of our history, our very existence as a nation, our identity, our being a nation can only be real when our history, our past, is used to build our future. And we can only do this when we know the true value of our assets, how important they are to us. Unfortunately, this country has been left out for so long. Not much has been done. As we speak now, I'm thinking of how we can get the national troop, which have been disbanded. We are the only country without a national troop. Sad to say. As we speak today in the sub-region, we are the only country without a national theater. Sad to say. However, this government have allocated land for a national theater at Burfoot Heights. And we believe as time goes on, we should be able to raise the funds to build a national theater that every Gambian will be proud of. The first step is to identify the land, and that has been done. We believe also our museum. We have a project with the QCell group, with the AfriCell group, and we believe very soon work will start in trying to reface, redesign our national museum until such a time that this country can be proud of a modern national museum, which we must get. And I think it's important, not only for tourism, but for the historic past and presence of our society. Yes, somebody talks about the looted items, the member for Central Body, that has been taken away by colonialists and other foreign governments. I must tell you that we're using a common approach with ECOWAS, and I'm sure some of you have been hearing that some have been returned. But what I can tell you so far, our investigation have shown 86 items are found only in one country that belongs to the Gambia, that is in France alone. 86 items. These are items that belongs to the Republic. It is believed that it belongs to our country, and we will do whatever it takes. But since we do not have the muscles alone, these 86 objects in France alone, museums in France, we're not talking about Germany, we're not talking about UK, we're not talking about the Netherlands and other countries. It means it's a huge task for us to do that. And that's why we have a common approach with the Economic Community of West African States as to how we can recover. The member for Wuli is said we do not have the capacity. He's absolutely right. We don't have the capacity, but we need to go and look for the capacity. And I think that is important for us. It is important to note that some of the sites we have given them maximum consideration. And the member for Lower Nyomi, Upper Nyomi speak about James Island. We used to know it as James Island, now Kinta Kinte, which is a UNESCO heritage site. I will tell you that the World Bank project, one of my most important engagement was to make sure that we don't lose that island, that island does not sink and disappear in the wilderness. We believe it was important to get that island back. The $68 billion grant that the World Bank, that the Tourism Ministry, jointly and finance negotiated, grant given to the Tourism Ministry for the Diversity and Resilience Project, over $40 million will go to James Island alone to recover it to glory and restore it back to normalcy. That in the next 100 years, your grandchildren can find Kinta Kunte right there. Just to show you how concerned we are when it comes to our national asset, particularly those dealing with national heritage sites. And we believe that it is important that what the member for Wuli is said again, we have gone on a tour. We cannot get to every site. But if you have a site of national importance, please send it through the select committee or any channel for us to receive it. We are more than willing to take up everything because we believe in our country. This has gone beyond party politics. It's about Gambia and the interests of the Gambia. So if you have a site that you believe is of importance, that can advance not only tourism, but for the future of this country, for the benefit of our people and children that are yet unborn, please give it to us. I know of Gunjur Mosque that we are working on, and I know of the Pochonki Mosque. These are unique mosques, and I'm told also Tuba Wuli Mosque, which I last saw in 2001. I don't know the shape for now, but I hope the mosque is intact. These three mosques and any other mosque of that nature, we are willing and ready. The wells you mentioned, we will seek funding from UNESCO, and government of the Gambia will contribute for us to see how we can preserve those wells. Some of them that we can try to rehabilitate. It is important, it's part of our history, and we must make sure that we keep that history. I was told of a well in Nema, Kiang, that lasted for almost 300-400 years. Hopefully the member for that constituency will be able to help us because we are interested. And these wells in Banjul, all other wells, wherever they are, it is important because this convention, if we don't ratify it, when people come to loot what we have on the sea, we will have no power to grab. As you are aware, recently, you must have been listening to news where a wrecked ship was recovered, hundreds and millions of dollars worth of gold was found. In the event you have a situation like that in the Gambia and we have not ratified this convention, there is no way we can reinforce any law to that matter. And that's why ratify this convention will give us a leverage and the power to protect and to harness these great assets that belongs to this great country. We may be small in size. Somebody said Gambia is not recognized. I can assure you the country is small in size, but we are very well recognized. We are recognized and we are noticed wherever we go, not because of our size, but because of our ability to make sure that we are noticed. Somebody talks about the issue of wildlife. Yes, I heard you. During my deliberation with the Speaker of the House of Commons on Tuesday was centered on the issue of the Assembly. I have forwarded that to the Speaker through the Majority Leader. That is not for me to say, but I can tell you that he has promised, and we are trying to work out a meeting in November with the Pachester Zoo Management Committee to see how best with the Ministry of Environment we can support to restock all our wild parks. We may not have it at once. There are ongoing negotiations with Zimbabwe and South Africa to support us, but I think this one will be faster and quicker because they've done it for Nepal and other countries, and I believe that they are ready to do it for the Gambia. We'll work with the Minister of Environment for that matter to pass the information to them and support them. As we speak, the High Commissioner is working on the appointment for November for us to be able to meet them and see how best we can advance that interest. Mr. Speaker, the issue of museums have been, if you look at behind us here, the Museum of Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara, no doubt will be a source of attraction for tourists. No doubt will be generating a lot of revenue for the ministry. And that's why we felt the best site to do it was here. When the question of where to bury Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara came, the ministry was consulted, engaged, and during our deliberation, we believe the best place to keep Sir Dawda was in the National Assembly premises because of the importance and the greatness of this institution. And I'm sure you will be getting a lot of tourists coming in. We will have a museum there, and we also want to change his house where he was born in Barajali into a museum to make sure that...
Can I observe the Honorable Minister?
Questions, and you want to observe?
Yes.
No, can you allow him to learn? When he learns, you want to say something, you let me know.
Mr. Speaker, we also want to still build our heritage to make sure that the house where his former president was born is turned into a museum. I just believe that some of you are just arriving from the airport, looking so tired. I will try to respond to as much questions or concerns as possible, but I believe that I have covered most of it for now. And then the jetties, yes, as I have spoken about the jetties, I think that we will already, as I said, but there is a problem. The problem is, we've got investors who wanted to invest in river transport, but they need to be amending the laws governing our river vis-a-vis GPA power and how private operators can operate in this country. And I'm sure the select committee in charge should be able to look into this and advise this august body and the executive appropriately as to which laws need to be amended to make it possible for private people or private investors to come and invest in river transportation in the Gambia. We need it, it's important. We are building the lodges. As you said, we had some issues, but it's now been resolved. We hope that very soon work will restart again, and we want to also expand this throughout the country. And we've seen a lot of Gambians also investing in this in various parts of the country, and we believe that collectively together we can make a difference. Before I resume my seat, Mr. Speaker, somebody talks about tourism is dead. Tourism is not dead in the Gambia. Tourism suffered under COVID. Tourism suffered under the Ukraine war. But tourism is reviving. And a lot of efforts are being invested to make sure that this sector comes back to glory. It's a tough fight. We don't have the money, the financial muscles, but we have the expertise and the desire and the will and the ultimate interest, making sure that we bring back tourism. And with the support of the government at the highest level, we are making inroads. Our first flight will be next month on the 14th, arriving from London, October. And we believe so far the statistics are not looking bad, but we need time to go back to where we came from. But it's not dead. And I hope the honorable member will take note of that. And the honorable member for Janjambure talks about tourism diversification, what has been diversified. I would tell him that we started talking about tourism diversification before COVID, because we believe that Gambians don't know even their country. They don't travel within their country. And some people in the sub-region don't know about our country. And we believe domestic and regional tourism was key in the ministry, in this government policy. And that has been amplified by the tourism policy which have just been concluded, which is one of the best policies. And by looking at that policy, it wasn't difficult for us to engage the World Bank, that have never been any investment physically in the tourism area since in the 70s. Today, you go there now, roads are being built. And now with this project, we'll make a big difference. And I urge you to go through the website of the World Bank. The entire project is there. All that needs to be done is there. And I hope when the project is launched, I will have an opportunity to come before members of this assembly to give you an insight of it, and so that you can also understand the project, master the project, follow the project, scrutinize the project based on your responsibility. On that note, Mr. Speaker, once again, let me take the opportunity to thank you and thank members for their contribution, and also for really accepting to ratify this convention unanimously. And in the same vein, thank my staff, Permanent Secretary, the Director Generals who have been working with me on this. And it is gratifying that when people are speaking the same voice, they make a difference in whatever they want to do. On that note, Mr. Speaker, I thank you so much. I beg to move.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member for Central Badibu, what was your...
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I just want to, the response from the Honorable Minister is welcoming that the intent to build a museum or to turn Jawara's, the former President's Jawara's house as a museum. I wanted to say, in the same vein, I don't know whether you have a plan, because to me, this site Sarawada should be buried in Barajali, so that to take tourism to the rural Gambia, as other former presidents in Africa been assumed and taken to the Avli.
Honorable members, these debates can continue. These suggestions can continue at your various committee levels, and I'm sure the relevant ministries or institutions are open to discussions. Honorable Minority Leader and Member for Brikama North.
Also want to observe on the call by the Honorable Minister challenging the Select Committee to come with amendments of the laws that will attract the investors to invest on river transportation. I think this was the challenge the select committee put to the ministry, that we would try as much as possible to do the necessary arrangement so that the river transportation can be revived. Yes, in as much as the committee can come with the committee bill, equally, you can have the government bill. It's faster that way. I put the challenge to you. Chairman.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Honorable members, to be honest, it is in our advantage to try to revitalize our river transport. Besides all what was mentioned, it will ease the workload on our road networks. You know, so I think that one is both sides, both the executive and the relevant committees should do that. And I hope that you will, from time to time, be challenging the honorable ministers to push them to bring a bill to ensure that those things are done. On your behalf, let me thank the honorable minister and his technical team. I think you have done a wonderful job in presenting your case and ably convincing honorable members. You must be commended, and your responses were definitely very informative. Yes, we had fought here in these chambers, but we have not said it. We remain the best of friends outside chambers. And we want that spirit to continue. People may have different opinions on issues. It doesn't make you enemies. We should remain as brothers as always. And honorable members, I loved your contributions and the enthusiasm shown in this particular convention. I want to thank you, all of you, for your contributions. Now, honorable members, I now put the question, be it resolved that this honorable assembly do ratify the Convention on the Protection of Underwater Cultural Heritage, Paris 2021. Those in favor, please say aye. Not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Thank you, honorable. Congratulations, honorable minister. On that note, honorable members, I now put the question. Be resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned until Monday, 26 September 2022. Those in favor, please say aye. Not in favor, please say no. The Assembly stands adjourned until Monday, 26 September 2022 at 10 a.m. prompt.